Hello everyone, this is Lloyd from Bizzfo, and in this show and tell I'm just going to talk you through some of the enhancements on the stock take screen. First thing we want to do is we want to have a look at the inventory just to understand what we're going to stock take. Now looking at the screen, there's a lot of colors. Starting at the top, it's white, which is our neutral color. It's just a normal item. Orange would be a bill of material, so this is typically items used in recipes. Green is indicating that it's cascaded, so if you have a look you can see we've got a single beer, a case and a six-pack, and then the yellow one would be our recipe, and then orange bill of material again. Now important, when you do stock counts you typically want to only count the items that are white and orange. The system will prevent you to do the green ones, as this will create some confusion if you count your six-pack and beers, and the enhancement will be to show you how to actually do that in one single line. Then a recipe item is not countable as well, considering that it is a recipe and only consists the moment of selling. So there's no way you can count your burgers. If you had to count a burger, you would use your manufacturing, put it into stock and then count it, but that would not be a recipe. So let's have a look, just understanding what the cascading does, because this is quite a big theme that I'm going to show you now. So again, if I double click this item, I can see this is the normal. Just to recap, it's not a bill of material and this is a normal unit, and I could change the recipe, but from the front end side I just want to show you. So a six-pack, I'm going to click on recipe. You can see top left it's saying it's a cascading item, and at the top it's saying a beer six-pack is consisting of beers and it's consisting of 6 of them. Now important to note, we've covered this before, but there's a little note at the back. Now this note is an important note for your stock take quantity or stock taking, just to indicate to the user that you're actually counting a six-pack. Let's have a look at our case. So case, again, clicking on the cascade. A beer case is consisting of beer six-pack, and we've got 4 of them. So that's quite important, and we've got a note to the guy counting the stock as well to say this is a case of 24. Okay, so just some background. We did the same with Branas and then the flour as well. We split the flour up into units, and then 12 kgs and 25 kgs. So let's see what the impact now is on our stock count sheet. So there's 2 things we want to highlight in this enhancement. You'll notice at the top it is saying show cascading columns. That is now grayed out. The users cannot edit that anymore. And at the bottom you'll also see the last quantity update variance is also grayed out. So these enhancements, Bizzfo is a very powerful system that was developed for owner driven, meaning that the owner typically understands the business the best. But that is not always the case. The guys doing the stock take might not even understand the stock take or building up the stock take sheet, and it's highly likely that they can make a mistake, and this is what this update should eliminate. So let's just start with a quick example of stock takes, and then just on the cascading side, and then we'll transition you to having a stock take done while we are actually trading. Okay, so the simplest way just to be, I'm going to go beer. So looking at the screen, you'll notice from previous, we've removed the variance column, and we've also removed the in-stock column, as this was creating quite a bit of confusion with the guys, especially when they're doing the running stock takes throughout the day. Now what we've introduced as well is we've just got some colors introduced. So if we look at, we've selected beer. Now this is not a mistake, Branas and beer was part of the same category on purpose. And then the yellow would state your case. This is the little note I refer to. So if I'm counting beer, it would say it's a case of 24. So note the orange part is saying 0, so I'm going to enter 1. And because of cascading, it's now showing it's 24. So a six-pack is 6. So let's just add 1 six-pack. It should go to 30. And let's just add another single. Let's do 6 of them. That should go to 36. Okay, so it's quite quick and rapid to do your stock takes in this way. Naturally, if you build up your stock take, you also want your count sheet. So let's just have a look what your count sheet would look like. And this is a typical count sheet. You got beer singles. It's stating the case is a 24 and a 6-pack, and the Brannas and the bottle and the tot double. Okay. Now let's just continue this one, and let's just say we've got Brannas case is a bottle, so we just got a 175 bottle. All right. So that's quite simple. I'm just going to process this one. Once processed, I want to have a look at my variance report. Now, obviously, we were sitting at 0, so we're expecting quite an increase in terms of our stock. And I'm just going to make sure I'm selecting the correct one. And we can see the quantity jumped from 0 to 36 for the singles, and the Brannas went from 0 to 30. And this is the actual tots. And you'll see at the bottom, we now have a gain within the system. Let's just quickly jump back to our inventory just to finish off the cascading. So having a look, remember we basically only counted the beer single, but because it's cascaded, we can see that we've got 1.5 cases, which is correct. And there's our 6-packs, and then at the Brana singles, we basically counted 1 bottle, which is the tots. So we're happy with that one. Okay, let's move over to the next one. I'll just quickly skip through this. Important. So this would be the one way to do your stock take. This is pre-set up categories, but it could be that you actually want to build up your stock takes. I'm just going to go to new. And what is important is you'll notice that the filter is slightly different. So if I go on flour, I could filter the category, but the cascaded items will not be listed as to assist the user not to make a mistake. So let me add flour. And then I can go and say, let's see what we got in the fridge. And I'm adding these items as well. I'm just going to select all of them. Okay, perfect. Again, I'm in a cascaded view, which is now the normal one. And if we're counting flour, we got 1 pack, that is 25 kgs. Now, important to note, these notes are blank. In other words, if I'm trying to count tomatoes, you'll notice the counting is not going to change. So if I count the tomatoes, it still won't change because the cascading has not been set up for this item. So make sure that when these items are blank, you can only count your tomatoes as a whole. Alright, perfect. So that's just the part on, so just make sure, you know, when you look at your filters, you'll notice your cascaded items, recipe items are not part of this list, so you can't accidentally select them and do a stock take. Alright, let me just process this one. Now, in the next video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do the stock takes while we are actually trading, and then how the system will consider the actual quantities that are changing within the system.